Monique, thank you so much for meeting with us today. Could we start at the beginning and how you became involved with the IB program?
Yes, David. It has been at first an involvement through my children, and then a real love affair because of what I have seen happening in the life of many other kids who took the IB. I moved to Atlanta 33 years ago. And when my children started going to school, as we spoke at home German and French, I wanted them to attend an only English school, and so they went to Galloway School. But then I realized that I needed to give them more of their family background and return to France for a year. Before that, I had heard and I had had many friends who had been involved in the creation of the Atlanta International School. And I, in fact, helped them start the school. And so when I came back from my year in France, I enrolled my 3 children at the Atlanta International School, which by then was the second school in Georgia to offer the International Baccalaureate. The first school to have decided on the International Baccalaureate was North Fulton High School, which is now North Atlanta High School. So, you know, very soon I am an educator by training, an archaeologist by profession, and I had been chairman of the board of Galloway School, and very quickly became involved with the Atlanta International School and was on the board, chaired the board, and then was asked to be part of the board of governors of the International Baccalaureate, which I did for 3 years. Then, at the time, the International Baccalaureate was not doing any fundraising and was only living from its school fees, the fees it's collected from schools. And because the program is a rather not overly expensive program, but it costs money, I felt that such a quality program should be made much more affordable for schools. So I started a fundraising committee with the IB. And in 2003, I was asked to chair the board of governors, which I have chaired for 6 years, and I am now chair emerita for a year, while my successor, Carol Bellamy, who was for 10 years the head of UNICEF and before that headed the Peace Corps, gets the full knowledge of the IB world and the IB organization, because it's an organization which has schools in 138 countries and reaches about 750,000 students. I think we have 50,000 teachers in the organization, 2,800 schools, about 6,000 examiners who examine the end of the program diploma, the IB diploma. It does take some time to figure out every details of the organization, and so that is why we have, as part of our governance, the position of chair emerita.
Where's the headquarters?
It's headquartered in Geneva. It's a Swiss non-profit foundation, which was founded in 1969.
And as the chair of the board, do you meet once a year or is it more than once?
We meet 3 times a year as a full board in various parts of the world where we have schools. It's a way for us to connect with the different schools and also with the education authorities of different countries. And otherwise, we have 2 or 3 teleconferences a year, plus committee meeting, generally by teleconference.
In which parts of the world is it growing the fastest, would you say?
It has been growing the fastest in North America, and now North America is really on par with Asia, where the IB is growing tremendously quickly.
China or?
Mainly India.
India, okay.
You see, because of the language, because of the English language, it's growing quicker in India than it is in China. Also, we have translated some of our program in Chinese.
Mm-hmm. So that's part of the expense of the organization, I guess, getting translators to...
Getting the translation. We have gotten a major grant now from a Middle Eastern foundation to translate our program in Arabic. We have also translated them in Turkish. And we are looking for funding, I think, to translate them in Portuguese. So the 3 languages where we now have all of our programs are English, French, and Spanish. And we have now some of the middle years program or the primary years program translated in other languages, like Turkish, like Arabic, or like Chinese.
And can you briefly tell us how it works? Is it 2 years of coursework that you take, and then you take an exam after that?
You know, somehow, let me go back to the founding of the IB, because it will make it easier for you to understand.
Okay.
The idea was to create end of high school examination that will allow students from whatever country they came from, when they had been studying in another country, to return to their country of origin and attend college or university there. So the IB was really created for international schools, and also for something which was quite wonderful, which was the United World Colleges. United World Colleges were created after World War II by a German idealist who had, because he was Jewish, he was an educator, a very well-known educator in Germany. And he had to leave Germany. And he went to England, where he created some public schools, meaning private for the British. Right. And after World War II, while visiting NATO War College, he realized that officers from countries who had been at war were then studying together, German, Italian, French, Americans, and so on. And he thought, but maybe the way to avoid World War III would be to have young people from all parts of the world start studying together and develop relationship of friendship, so that when a crisis will come, they will be willing to talk to each other and to solve the problems without resorting to the use of arms. And so he created those United World College, where students will go on full scholarship. 1/4 were coming from the democratic world, US, Europe. 1/4 were coming from the communist world, 1/4 from Africa, and 1/4 from Asia. But then it came with the same problems that some other international school, like the International School of Geneva, who had been created for the children of the employee of the League of Nations after World War I, they really needed to find ways for those students to return to their country of origin, of citizenship, to study. And that's how the International Baccalaureate was created.
So in other words, if you spent 2 years abroad, when you came back, they would give you full credit for that.
Exactly.
Right.
And so originally, the diploma program, which was those last 2 years of high school, started in 1970. And for about close to 25 years, that was the only thing that existed. People knew the IB for the diploma program, this end of high school exam. Afterwards, teachers in international schools sort of felt, in order to teach international mindedness and to create global citizen, we need to start earlier. And that's how the middle years program, which goes from children from 9 or 10 till 16 or 17, was started. And then the primary years program, which is for students from age 3 to 9 or 10,